I'll tell you what I'll do, Klitschko. I'll fight Romain Stavern, and when I beat Stavern, then I'll fight you for undisputed. Klitschko didn't want it that way. Klitschko, who had sparred Deontay Wilder in the past, seen Deontay Wilder's potential knockout power, brutal knockout power. He didn't want to take the risk of fighting Deontay Wilder and getting hit with one bomb. He would much rather fight a short guy like Romain Stavern, where he can use his regular style, which is he can lean on him, wrap him up, lean, push their head down, and beat the dog shit out of him, right? That's what Klitschko likes to do.
Okay, those are the words of 78 Sports TV. I was told to listen to 78 Sports TV and give my counterpunch on it. Already, what 78 is saying is flawed. Why? Because how he's explaining it, that he said, I tell you what, Klitschko, I'll fight Stavern. But Klitschko didn't want it that way because he wanted to fight someone that was shorter than him so he can lean on him. And what he's referring to, 78 Sports, is lean on, the jab and grab, that shit Klitschko used to do. I used to hate that shit. But that's what he did, the jab and grab style. He keeps you at bay, the outside fighter that jabs you and sets you up with big power punches from the outside. Those is what he's referring to. However, it makes no sense what 78 saying is because, well, if you thought that Klitschko didn't want to fight Wilder, that meant Wilder would have had to lose to Stavern. Think of what I'm saying. Well, I'll fight Stavern. That means you will beat Stavern. So there won't be a Stavern fight with Klitschko. So why would Klitschko have to worry about fighting him anyway? See, you got to know what the fuck you're talking about. You got to know what you're saying when you come on the air. I don't know. Maybe it was a dyslexic thing, or maybe he meant to say, well, he didn't want to fight Wilder, and he wanted to fight Stavern. That's probably what he meant to say. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? But even if that's the case, sparring, they had to go back to sparring. You know why they went back to sparring? Because people have seen Wilder get knocked out by Klitschko. 78 Sports wasn't there to see this shit. I was not there to see this shit. So don't take our word for it. Okay, you take the word of the people that were there. Dillian White said he saw it. He said he got knocked out and his ass was twitching. Okay, let me give you guys a backstory. In case you don't know anything about Wladimir Klitschko or the Klitschkos, they invited young fighters, young heavyweights over to Stanglewart. Okay, it was an academy where he works out at. He's a gym rat. That's all he do. That's all he does. That's all he did. Okay, now he brought Dillian White over. Anthony Joshua over, Deontay Wilder over, okay? He brought these guys over to spar them, basically see where their skill set was. And two accounts, White, what's the other cat's name? Let me get it for you real quick. His name goes by the name of James Ali Bashir. Okay, he saw Wilder get knocked out by Wladimir Klitschko. So again, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it, because me and 78 Sports TV sitting here saying what somebody told them versus what somebody else saw. Okay, so why are we to argue with that? But based off of what I saw and based off of the things that was said, let's counterpunch. Now he's saying that he didn't want, or Wilder wanted that fight, and Klitschko didn't want that fight. This is what I remember Klitschko saying about Wilder. Okay, this is documented. He said that Deontay Wilder needs to fight better opposition. Okay, and that's while he was a reigning champion for fucking a decade, okay? He said that. Now, if Wilder was this big Billy badass like he was from 18, 19, and a little beginning part of 20 before he got fucked up, if he was that person, then we would have heard something, unless he had no legs to stand on. And obviously he didn't, because he didn't say shit when Wladimir Klitschko told him, hey, you know what? Being that young guy and that young champion, he needs to fight better opposition. And then what he really was saying was, because, Wladimir is a gentleman. He was saying that, hey, simply, he needs to fight someone else before even thinking about fucking with me. You see what I mean? And that's something he didn't have to say because he was the champion at the time. So was Deontay. Okay? That's one. Two, Shelly Finkel, manager of Wladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder. What happened? That's our baby champion. Now, I've asked close friends of Wilder this personally. Why did Shelly Finkel say that? Why did Shelly Finkel say that about Wilder? And what did he say? Tay Jones, that's his name. I don't have to hide his name because we talked. He said, man, I don't know why he said that. You know, but Tay Jones also told me he wanted to fight Wladimir. Okay. He wanted to fight Wladimir. So based on Deontay Wilder didn't respond when it came to Wladimir saying what he said or Shelly Finkel saying what he said. Zip. Hush mouth. That's all you heard. Hush mouth. So you got two accounts where two other people are saying something about Wilder and Wilder didn't say shit. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like Wilder now. Because this quietness, it conveys to me, okay, that you've been defeated, that you've been checked. See, that was a check. Wladimir Klitschko checked him. Shelly Finkel checked him. That's a check. Checkmate. That's what that is. That means, hey, you know what? We've said something and you have nothing to rebuttal, nothing to counterpunch. And he didn't say shit about Shelly Finkel. He didn't have words with Shelly Finkel, did he? No, he did not. At all. He said, baby champion, we're not going to put him against Wladimir Klitschko. So let's look at those two. Just those two by themselves. Okay? Klitschko saying he needs to up his game. Shelly Finkel saying he's not ready to up his game. So don't that sound like a person that's not ready to take on a challenge? So how are we going to believe, based on what people said about Wilder, how are we going to believe that this man was ready to take on those type of guys? After all, he could have fucking took on Vitaly. He didn't do that shit. Right? He had the belt before Mr. Stavern didn't he not? Counterpunch. He didn't want to fight that dude. Or better yet, Shelly Finkel didn't want him to fight that dude. So if he didn't want him to fight Wladimir Klitschko, he damn sure ain't going to fight a Vitaly Klitschko, big bro. Think about what I'm saying, people. 78 Sports TV. Look, there's no bias here. There's no capping here. All I'm saying, I'm stating the facts. If you can dispute anything I said, you better dispute other sources. Because according to Dillian White and James Ali Bashir, seeing this man get knocked out. Let me give you another one, for example, because he was talking about Joshua. That's why Joshua, he didn't want to fight Wilder. Okay, well, why didn't Wilder fight Charles Martin? Right? He had the belt after they all got relinquished because of Tyson Fury's breakdown. Why didn't he fight Parker? He knew Parker. You know what I'm saying? So he had the other belt. You know what I'm saying? So why didn't these fights take place? Another thing. Here's another point. Why didn't Deontay Wilder call out Joshua when he was there commentating on Sky Sports? When Joshua did beat Wladimir Klitschko. See, all these things will never be talked about by these guys. They will never be discussed by these guys. They will always be kind of swept under the rug or ignored. Okay, so this is what we have. Oh, he recognized the knockout power that Wilder was the lowest of the low. Joshua, look, the crowd called out Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury wouldn't even fucking fight no more. He had just knocked out Wladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder was right there not saying a fucking word. Why? Because Wilder knew his place. Wilder knew he was either not ready, not experienced enough, or his team thought he was not ready or not experienced enough. Okay? So if that's the fact right there. Wilder didn't say anything about Anthony Joshua. He didn't call out Joshua until the end of 2017. So you had April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So around October, November, so about 8 months later, he starts saying Anthony Joshua's name. They offer this man a fucking like $7 million. He turned it down. They offered him 12.5, then 15. Then they start giving the motherfucker splits. So don't give me this shit about what Joshua didn't want to do or what Team Joshua didn't want to do. What we see is the man's own manager didn't want him to fight the best. The man at the time, Wladimir Klitschko, said he has to fight better opposition, right? And when he was in front of both of those guys that was fighting for the WBA and what was it, the IBF also, okay? Where the fuck was he? That's the question you need to ask yourself. That's the question that 78 Sports needs to ask himself. And I know he's trying to hype up his fighter. There's nothing wrong with being a Wilder fan. Just don't fall for the delusional bullshit and don't make up shit. Your hopes, wishes, desires is one thing, but calling them facts is a totally different situation. But anyway, by special request, I had to counterpunch this video. You guys tell me what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.